Welcome to Dental Philosophers. Today I will discuss odontogenic infections, chapter number 17 in Tuckers. First of all, I will discuss infections, its definition, its physiological stages, its types according to severity, spread of infection, factors on which the spread depends, and then I will explain what is a facial space, and there are primary, secondary, and tertiary facial spaces. I will discuss diagnostic points for different types of odontogenic infections which spread from maxillary and mandibular teeth. Then, in the end, I will discuss treatment of odontogenic infections. What is infection? It is important from MCQ's point of view. Infection, invasion of bodily tissues by pathogenic microorganisms that can be bacteria, viruses, or fungi that proliferate and results in tissue injury, which can lead to a disease. ये वाइवा में बहुत पूछी जाती है definition of infection. Next is pathophysiological stages of infection. First stage of infection is edema, which remain from 0 to 3 days. Its duration is 0 to 3 days when bacteria inoculate the tissues of particular space. In edema, there is soft, mild, tender, doughy swelling, and aerobic bacteria are dominated. And it has jelly-like consistency, and its color is normal, and it is a mild diffuse. It has mild diffused borders, and its size is also variable. And pus is not present in the case of edema. Next is cellulitis, which is the second stage. Intense inflammatory response causes signs of inflammation. Its duration is 3 to 5 days, and it is hard, red, acutely tender area of cellulitis. And infection consists of mixed flora in stage of cellulitis, which initiates the intense inflammatory response. Next one is abscess. Abscess is area of liquefactive necrosis which coalesce centrally to form pus. Abscess remains for 5 to 7 days after the onset of swelling, and there is domination of anaerobic bacteria in abscess, and there is centrally swollen area, soft and shiny center, and it is abscess is localized, and if we perform incision and drainage through skin or mucosa of an abscess, तो फिर infection will resolve and it will finally heal and repair. Depending upon the severity, infections can be low severity, moderate severity, and high severity. Low severity infections does not hinder airway or cause damage to the vital structures. In moderate severity infections, trismus or elevation of the tongue can cause obstruction of the airway, making endotracheal intubation difficult. And in high severity infection, it can directly compress the airway or can cause damage to the vital structures like brain, heart, lungs, skin, as in necrotizing fasciitis that is caused by flesh-eating bacteria. Spread of infections, local or regional spread of infection to other facial spaces, and which can cause facial spaces infection. If there is systemic spread, it can cause bacteremia, septicemia, or toxemia. Bacteremia is the presence of bacteria in the bloodstream, and septicemia is bacteremia plus clinical signs and symptoms of invasion and toxin production by the bacteria, and toxemia is presence of microbial toxins in the blood. Most of the infections penetrate through facial cortical plate and become vestibular abscess because it is thinner than palatal side. That's why. What are the factors that determine the spread of infection? First of all, microbes, types and number of microbes. The microbes that leads to more spread of infection are Streptococcus, Streptococcus, and Staphylococcus. Immune status of the patient and local anatomic structures like alveolar bone, thickness of bone, and nature of bone, periosteum, attachment of muscle and fascia, mucosa, and skin. These are the factors on which spread of infection depends. Facial spaces are fascial-lined tissue compartments with the loose alveolar connective tissues that can become inflamed if invaded by microorganisms. This loose alveolar connective tissue serves as a cushion to vital structures like muscles, nerves, gland, vessels, and other structures. And during infection, this cushioning effect, yet cushioning tissues become edematous in response to tissue fluid exudation. The facial spaces in which there is direct spread of infection from the point of origin of odontogenic infection are called primary facial spaces. In primary facial spaces, vestibular space, canine space, buccal space, submental, submandibular, and sublingual spaces are included. Secondary facial spaces are the facial spaces that become involved by the spread of infection from the primary facial spaces. And it includes infratemporal space, pterygomandibular space, mesenteric space, superficial temporal, and deep temporal spaces. Tertiary facial spaces, the third involved spaces are called tertiary facial spaces, which are also called deep facial spaces. It includes lateral pharyngeal space, retropharyngeal space, pretracheal space, prevertebral space, and danger space. Not very important from the prof point of view, लेकिन आपको नाम at least पता होने चाहिए. Infections arising from maxillary teeth. First of all, palatal space infection. Upper lateral incisors and palatal roots of upper premolars and molars, whose these are the teeth whose roots are close to the palatal cortical plate, and also the lateral incisor is also palatally tilted. Up to 1 mm. So, infection of these teeth will erode the palatal cortical plate without perforating the periosteum and will become a palatal space infection in subperiosteal space of the palate and presents as a palatal swelling. Periapical infections of upper central incisors, because the palatal bone is thick in this area as compared to the labial cortical plate is comparatively thick, so periapical infection of upper central incisors will erode the buccal cortical plate or labial cortical cortex or labial cortical plate and will enter into the labial sulcus and become a vestibular space infection. It will spread labially, the infection of upper central incisors. Canine space or infraorbital space, it is very important. It is a potential space between the levator anguli oris and levator labii superioris muscle as shown in the figure below. Now, how canine space is involved? It is involved as a result of odontogenic infection of maxillary canine, or it can result from extension of buccal space infection. Why? As a result of infection of canine, because of the long roots of maxillary canine, the infection erodes through the alveolar bone superior to the levator anguli oris and inferior to the levator labii superioris muscles. Clinical picture of canine space infection, there is swelling over the interior face. Okay, there is swelling on interior face as shown in the figure. It obliterates the nasolabial fold. It is one of the diagnostic point of canine space infection, and there is spontaneous drainage near medial or lateral canthus of eye. Infection always spread through the path of least resistance. So in this case, infection will spread on either side of the levator labii superioris muscle, which is attached at the center of infraorbital rim as shown in the figure. Buccal space infection. Buccal space is bounded laterally by overlying skin and medially by the lateral aspect of buccinator muscle as shown in the figure. The purple one is buccal space. Now, maxillary posterior teeth, spread of odontogenic infection from maxillary posterior teeth above the attachment of buccinator muscle leads to buccal space infection. As shown in the second figure, the route of spread of infection from maxillary teeth is above the attachment of buccinator muscle. That goes into the buccal space and causes buccal space infection. Clinical presentation, there is swelling below zygomatic arch and above the inferior border of mandible. Zygomatic arch and inferior border of mandible are palpable. As the facial layer passes over the zygomatic arch and are tightly bound to the bone, the swelling below zygomatic arch gives a dimpled appearance as shown in the figure. Buccal space infection following extension into the fat pad, buccal fat pad can spread to superficial temporal spaces, infratemporal space, infraorbital space, and periorbital space. Infratemporal space boundaries. Interiorly, it is bounded by maxilla. Medially, lateral pterygoid plate of sphenoid bone. Superiorly, there is base of skull as shown in the figure, and laterally and superiorly continuous with the deep temporal space. These are the boundaries of infratemporal space. Contents of infratemporal space. This space consists of branches of intramaxillary artery and pterygoid venous plexus, veins and arteries. It is caused in infratemporal space infection is caused by infection odontogenic infection of maxillary third molar, and infratemporal space infection can further spread to cavernous sinus, forming the posterior route of spread to cavernous sinus. Now, what's the posterior route? Emissary veins from pterygoid plexus passes through pterygoid plexus, then emissary veins, then foramina in the base of skull that connect with intradural sinuses. Because the veins of face and orbit do not have valves, blood-borne infection passes superiorly or inferiorly along their course and spread to the cavernous sinus, causing cavernous sinus thrombosis. So, infraorbital space infection spread to cavernous sinus, forming posterior route. There are two routes of cavernous sinus thrombosis, anterior and posterior. Posterior route is spread of infection from infratemporal space. Maxillary sinus and other paranasal sinuses, the spread of infection from maxillary teeth to the sinuses. Periapical and periodontal infections from posterior maxillary teeth erodes superiorly. It erodes the floor of maxillary sinus and causing maxillary sinusitis. The maxillary sinus infection, that is sinusitis, can spread through ethmoid sinus and orbital floor to cause secondary periorbital and orbital space infections. And clinical features of periorbital space infection is redness and swelling of eyelids involving vascular and neural components of orbit. It is a serious infection and aggressive medical surgical intervention is required in this case. Cavernous sinus thrombosis is a serious life-threatening infection, rarely an occurrence of infected tooth. It can be caused by rapid extension of orbital cellulitis. Clinical features: gross edema of eyelid, limited eyeball movements, fixed dilated pupils, cyanosis, proptosis, blindness, and death can occur. It is a serious life-threatening condition. As infection spreads due to valveless veins of face and orbit, it causes intravascular inflammation, which is caused by bacteria, which inflammation stimulates clotting pathways, lead to clotting in veins, resulting in cavernous sinus thrombosis. There are two routes of spread of infection to cavernous sinus: anterior route and posterior route. Posterior route I have already explained before in infratemporal space infection. And anterior route is from canine space or infraorbital space, which is also called infraorbital space infection. Anterior route of spread of cavernous sinus. So first of all canine infection हुई, canine infection से canine space infect हुई, that is infraorbital space. उसमें infraorbital veins थी, वो भी infect हुई. अब infection always travel along the path of least resistance. It will follow inferior ophthalmic vein, then via the sinuses, then it will affect the main ophthalmic vein. From there, superior orbital fissure, which directly enters into the cavernous sinus, causing infection and leading to cavernous sinus thrombosis. Treatment of cavernous sinus thrombosis: so first of all antibiotics, chloramphenicol 1 gram every 6 hours, और फिर heparinization by using 200,000 units of heparin and 1500 ml of dextrose. We will use mannitol to reduce edema. और ये वाइवा में भी पूछते हैं और MCQ पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू के लिए भी इम्पॉर्टेंट है. और एंटीकोएगुलेंट्स यूज़ करते हैं, सर्जिकल ड्रेनेज करते हैं और न्यूरोलॉजिकल कंसल्टेशन. Okay. Spread of infection of maxillary teeth. Upper incisor can spread infection to palatal space, vestibular space, or it can cause labial lip swelling. Its drainage sites are intracanal, sulcus, or intraoral. Upper canine can spread infection to vestibular space, canine or infraorbital space, and cavernous sinus thrombosis. और इसकी ड्रेनेज साइट्स हैं इंट्राओरल, इंट्राकेनाल, एक्स्ट्राओरल if required, and endoscopic. Upper premolars can spread infection to vestibular space, buccal space, or maxillary sinus, and its sites of drainage are intraoral sulcus or extraoral. Upper first molar can spread infection to vestibular space, buccal space, and cavernous sinus thrombosis and can cause thrombosis. Intraoral, its drainage sites are intraoral, intracanal, or extraoral. Upper second molar can spread infection to cavernous sinus and buccal space and its drainage sites are intraoral and extraoral. Upper third molar can spread infection to infratemporal space and drainage sites are intraoral and extraoral. Upper third molar is important.